Good evening, you're watching Brass-tacks. I'm Zakir Jacob. It's so far been a washed out few days of the budget session of Parliament as the government and the opposition simply don't seem to be able to come to terms on a number of issues. Rahul Gandhi being allowed to speak and whether he will be allowed to quote from an unpublished book, women MPs who are alleged to have been planning to physically accost the Prime Minister, which in turn prevented him from speaking in the Lok Sabha, and now this entire politics between Congress and BJP over the newly announced Indo-US trade deal. But while there are attempts to try and get a debate going, today there were separate meetings that the Speaker had with both representatives of the government as well as representatives of the opposition. The opposition, on the other hand, is trying to up the ante by planning a no-confidence motion against the Speaker himself. Maybe not all opposition parties are on board with that. The TMC, for example, wants to continue discussing issues of pressing importance to the state of Bengal. Same with the DMK. Now, the question is, what will give? Will we even get a halfway decent debate going in Parliament after what's been 8 full days of a near washout? But I want to first bring you up to speed with the scenes that we've seen over the last week plus since the budget was presented in Parliament exactly 9 days ago. There have been major disruptions, multiple flashpoints, all of which have only pushed Lok Sabha proceedings into a deadlock. Here's what has triggered this standoff. It started off with a controversy over the revelations and political reactions to General Naravane's book, which sparked sharp exchanges between the Treasury benches and the opposition benches. Rahul Gandhi accused the Speaker of reneging on his assurance to give the opposition about letting him speak before the debate on Budget 2026. That then escalated tensions and led to loud protests in the House, even as Union Parliamentary Affairs Minister Kiran Rijiju said that Rahul Gandhi was not fully right. The Speaker's decision to suspend 8 Congress members last week also fueled further outrage, with the opposition calling it undue and politically motivated. The opposition is now mulling a no-confidence motion against the Speaker, which is a rare step, intensifying the parliamentary standoff. But not all opposition parties, not all members of the India bloc are in sync with that decision. Debates over India's continued purchase of Russian oil amid global pressure added to the political heat with the announcement of the India-US trade framework. And today Rahul Gandhi even said that the reason why the government does not want a debate on the budget is because they're afraid that the Indo-US deal will come into sharp criticism. Let's play out some political reactions, both from the government side, the Treasury benches side, as well as from the opposition side, as to what will give, what will finally yield to some form of a deliberate debate in Parliament. Let's play out those reactions first.
My personal view is that the government is scared to have a debate. The Prime Minister didn't come into the House because he was scared of what we were going to say. He was scared of being handed Mr. Naravane's book as a first step, right? And my guess is that the government is worried about having a debate on the budget because the issue of the US deal, the way it was done, what has happened, the impact on our farmers is going to be discussed, and the government doesn't want to do that.
I had given commitment to the Congress party in front of the Speaker that if Congress agrees to let the House function normally, then we will allow Congress party and other parties also, not only Congress, other parties also, to speak for 2-3 minutes on how to run the House smoothly. We are agreeable to this proposal, but I cannot agree to a situation where leader of opposition Rahul Gandhi will speak, make accusation, and then create ruckus and don't let others speak. That will not happen. We will not agree to that. If Congress speaks, then we will allow other members also to be allowed to speak. We will not allow only Congress party to speak.
Okay, I want to go across for a face-off on this. Shazia Elmi, national spokesperson of the BJP, will be joining us. Brajesh Kallappa, spokesperson of the Congress. Tushar Gupta, journalist, is also joining us. Brajesh, you heard from the Parliamentary Affairs Minister. He says, look, we're open for debate and discussion. Mr. Gandhi can, say whatever he wants to say, but he cannot have this fiat that only he will be allowed to speak and quote from unpublished, unsold books, despite a ruling by the Speaker that he can't do so.
See, the first thing is, Zaka, that as far as the Speaker's role is concerned, that I think is a matter of concern for all of us who are living in a democratic society. First thing is that he doesn't permit the reading of a book which has been proven to be published, right? He gives a ruling that it is unpublished. And when you even bring the published book, he's still not willing to change his mind, one. Two, he's not willing to accept that it is already published material in the Caravan magazine, which also he doesn't consider. So even on the face of, what the facts are, if the presiding member of a house is unwilling to see sense and unwilling to open his eyes, I think it's very difficult to deal with such a person. And this is something which I think your viewers must make their own minds upon. This is the first part. Second part is this claim that the Prime Minister was going to be attacked by women MPs. Why are women MPs allowed to carry swords and machine guns into the house? Everybody knows that they are frisked. There is no, they are not carrying any dangerous material. Somebody even made a claim that they were going to bite the Prime Minister. I mean, this kind of inconfidence stems from the fact that the Prime Minister is absolutely petrified of what is going to happen in the House. And who was covering up for him? The presiding officer of the House. And this is itself a matter of great concern, that the Speaker, who is supposed to play a role which is absolutely neutral in nature, is now taking complete sides and then completely going to one side. I think this is a matter of concern. Even in the past, his behavior has given the Congress party several issues to raise before the
Shazia Ilmi, Rahul Gandhi today spoke outside the House. He said the Speaker had assured them that they could raise whatever issue they wanted. He later reneged. He says the real reason why the government does not want to have a debate is because the Prime Minister and the government are running scared. They're running away. They don't want to debate either on what General Naravane has said in his book, or they don't want to debate on the contours of the Indo-US framework, the trade agreement. Therefore, we're not having any business functioning in the House.
It's really sad, Zaka, that, Rahul Gandhi is so short on comprehension and it takes so long to understand basic things. And it's also quite sad that we have an LOP like that in a parliament who actually has no idea about how the parliament functions. Not just that, look at his petulance and his stubbornness that he wants to go on and on about a point. And something that has been talked about extensively, the videos of which are out as to what transpired in Eastern Ladakh with the troop movement or the tank movement was concerned in 2020. He has little concern about what's happening in the parliament, the budget. He has not one decent, smart, intelligent question to ask from the government about the economy, polity, US trade deal. Just see all that is going on and look at the intelligence or lack of it of this man, and how sad I feel for this nation, not so much for him, because he has nothing much to lose. He hasn't come up with very great credentials of a parliamentarian to start with. But see where it comes to upholding the dignity of the position of LOP and upholding the dignity of the parliament, of the House, and that of the Speaker. I just heard the Speaker before me representing the Congress party. There is something called, it's not a physical attack, there is a moral attack, there is a symbolic attack. Do you want this to be headlines in the world all over that Indian Parliament has become a circus? It is a responsibility of each one of us, even the citizen, to ensure that we don't look like a laughing stock. And I think when women Congress women MPs get into the part where Prime Minister sits to do some kind of a random gherao, it is so sad that that it is a duty, moral duty of the constitutional duty of the Speaker, and actually every member of the House to say the least, to ensure that we conduct ourselves with decorum and dignity. And just imagine this man and his petulance, that he is still stuck on that, knowing very well that General Naravane himself has stated categorically, I have not seen the book. He has given it to the publishers. The rule book has been explained, every rule has been talked about. But look at this man called Rahul Gandhi. I feel so sorry, not for him, but for the country, that don't we deserve better?
No,
somebody with something in his
country
upper
definitely
story who will
deserves
be curious
better.
about what's happening in this country now.
Country definitely deserves better, because who is going to pay for all this washed out days and sessions of Parliament? Tushar Gupta, please weigh in on this. It costs 2.5 lakh rupees per minute to run our Sansad. If you add that up, that's 9 crores in a single day. We've had 8 wasted days. That's close to 60 crores that have been wasted. The productivity of the Parliament in this budget session has been less than 20%, which means 1 out of 5. I mean, why are we paying for this? Why are we paying for this absolute dereliction of duty by our members of Parliament?
Good evening, Zaka. Pardon the pun, but we haven't really budgeted our budget session. It all started with an article that Rahul Gandhi wanted to selectively quote. The article itself selectively quoted from a book that hasn't been published yet, but people claim there are copies available everywhere on the internet. We don't know. But the problem is, at the end of the day, the members of the House are bound by a procedure. Point number one. Point number two. If Rahul Gandhi wants to quote from a book, he has all the right to do so. But my worry is this is a book that has not been cleared by the Ministry of Defense. Now, America and China, two opposite points in the spectrum of democracy. We are very, very closer to America than to China, of course. But in each of these countries, can a retired officer of the military or any other sensitive area, say atomic energy or nuclear energy, publish a memoir without the clearance of the government? And if the memoir comes out, will it be used for political, bickering by the parties? I don't know. I don't see that happening in any other country but in India. Point number three, and I emphasize on this, the Parliament is not a book club. If the MPs are so interested in books, they have the MP Lads funds, they can go and start a library in their respective constituencies. But the problem here is we are not quoting the facts in the books. We are quoting the opinions of the authors in these books. The parliamentary discourse cannot be about what an author feels in their respective book. Tomorrow, you'll have a lot of frivolous authors who would be deployed by the same MPs from opposition parties, from any other party to make a point, and suddenly our entire parliamentary discourse will be about what these authors are thinking. Our parliamentarians, the people we elect, they do not need any validation from any author, be it an officer, be it a bureaucrat, be it any random person. They need to debate on facts that are available in the public domain. Now, the simple question is Rahul Gandhi willing to debate on facts on Galwan that have been in public domain for the last 6 years? Yes or no? It's that simple. But please, let's not go to this downward spiral where we, sort of confuse the opinion of an author with the gospel truth, inside a parliament at least.
Let me just getting some updates on that story on General Naravane's book. Now, we're getting an update on that. The Delhi police has taken cognizance of what is called a pre-print version or a pre-print copy of the book that General Naravane wrote. It's called 4 Stars of Destiny. This book has become a huge controversy in Parliament. It's one of the reasons why Parliament has been stalled. So now the Delhi police is filing an FIR to find out how, where and why was the pre-order copy of this being circulated. It was also reported that the necessary clearance for the publication of this book is yet to be received from the Ministry of Defense. It's one of 2 books which has not been cleared in the last few years. In order to carry out a thorough investigation into this leak of a yet-to-be-approved publication, a case has been registered with the special cell of the Delhi police. An investigation is now being taken up to find out who is it that leaked this, and more importantly, if this is an unpublished book or this is a book for which permission has not been given, then how is it that members of Parliament end up having copies of it? How is it that a magazine has been allowed to write an article on it? And how is the LOP being allowed to quote from this book, which has not been cleared by the Ministry of Defense? So, Brijesh, this is now taken a new twist. The Delhi police are saying that they are registering an FIR to find out A, who leaked this, and B, how did it even reach the public domain without it being cleared by the Ministry of Defense?
See, in a dictatorial state, Zaka, this is expected, and we all know that these kind of repressive measures are taken from time to time. Why do certain people who are just students, why do they languish in jail for years and years, 5 years? So I think this is, as far as repressive governments are concerned, this is something which is par for the course. But I think as far as that is concerned, I think the judiciary will have its final say. But I just would like to refer to what Mr. Tushar said. He said that, this is a book which has, some defense issues and so on and so forth. This is a subject which has happened over 6 years ago, right? Now, if you're going to very happily, the Prime Minister has repeatedly spoken about what happened in 1962. He has repeatedly spoken about Pandit Nehru in that context. Now, if something from 1962 can be spoken about, why not something about 6 years earlier? Why is the MOD not giving clearance? MOD is not giving clearance because this opinion of General Naravane will come out. Now, what is troubling the government is that this opinion of General Naravane must not come out, and that's obvious, and that's the reason why the MOD clearance is not coming out, why Mr. Rahul Gandhi is not allowed to read the book, right? If a book like Accidental Prime Minister could be repeatedly read by the
I need to come to that.
then why not have this book read and be done with it? Instead of that, Prime Minister, like a coward, he runs away.
Tushar,
Runs away from
so
the house,
accidental Prime
goes into
Minister
another
has been
house,
quoted.
and then
Nishikant
secretly
Dubey,
speaks
I
from
think,
that
read
house
out
because
from
here
some
Mr.
6
Rahul
books.
Gandhi is there. What does it speak
No,
about the Prime Minister?
Okay, let
General
Tushar
Naravane
respond.
was right
Let-
in his
Again,
assessment
you
of
know,
the Prime
since
Minister.
Let-
Jo uchit
let-
samjhe, he went to the other house and then spoke.
Let,
This is what
Okay.
this is the least we
Can
expect
I-
of the
Okay,
Prime Minister.
let Tushar respond. I mean, Nishikant Dubey quoted from 6 books, not all of which have been published in India, and yet that was kosher. The speaker allowed that, but
But they
not.
have been published somewhere. Zaka, now you
No,
just
he's
broke
also
the
claiming
news
this
about-
book has been published in Germany.
No,
That's-
where? It's not available in Germany. See, there are two kinds of circulation that are going on, Zaka. Rahul Gandhi was waving the hard copy. But what reports are suggesting, there is also an e-book that is circulating. The same e-book that's a pre-print copy. Now, number two, Mr. Kalappa has said that this is some sort of a repressive regime. Even in America, the serving officers or the retired officers, when they publish their memoirs, they have to go through the Department of Pre-Publication and Security Review. It's a lifelong obligation because when they sign up for the uniform, they sign a non-disclosure agreement. In India also, you have similar measures. These are some very, really sensitive matters. And I'm not just talking about Galwan. You have had soldiers, you've had officers, you've had esteemed, decorated officers who have fought the Kargil War, the 71 War, the 65 War, in between so many innumerable battles. There is a process in place. What worries me is that if today such leaks can happen, it sets a very dangerous precedent for tomorrow. And do not only look at it from the military side. What if tomorrow a nuclear scientist or an ISRO scientist or an atomic energy scientist or anyone from other sensitive sector is weaponized by some agency in the name of leaks? What do we do then?
So Shazia, the book is one part. The other part, he said, was, how can Congress women MPs be accused of trying to attack the Prime Minister? They don't come into the house with weapons. Mr. Gandhi's contention is the Prime Minister was scared and that's why he didn't turn up in the house. He made the exact same speech in the Rajya Sabha.
Zaka, has happened for the first time in the history, the constitutional history of this,
Exactly.
of our nation, that there have been, as a part of strategy, and such a small-time petty strategy at that, that 5 women MPs walked in, crossed the lobby, which they don't do, and just to gheraw the Prime Minister. Now, this is, you have a problem with the Prime Minister because you can't win against him. You don't know what on earth to do. You keep getting exposed. Your intellectual bankruptcy is for everyone else to see. But forget about that. You want to insult the Parliament, the Prime Minister's chair, the Speaker's chair. And do you actually want marshals? You want pictures of those the next day that the marshals are actually are taking the women parliamentarians away? There is something called dignity of the House. I don't think anybody is getting it. The women were not carrying arms. Nobody's saying that. So let's not be very facetious about it. Let's not be cute about it because we're not. We get it. And I want to tell the gentleman who was speaking on behalf of Congress Party, do you remember what happened and what Supreme Court had to say in August 25 last year? Rebuke Rahul Gandhi for saying such terrible things about the Indian army and saying that so much of our land, 20,000 square kilometers, has been taken away, and said no Indian can say something like that. Learn from that. Supreme Court keeps, wrapping the knuckles of this gentleman with us totally intellectually bereft, and he just keeps coming up with new ones. And even now, can you imagine, Zaka? You're right. There is a lot at stake here, but this is 26. You're right, we're talking about 62, why can't we talk about 2020? But can you imagine that we are discussing the budget, something that impacts people, even all the states where Rahul Gandhi's Congress party is in power, and he doesn't, this bright spark, this crown prince or clown prince has no one question. He's stuck on why he's not being allowed to speak, knowing very well that this is not the primary source, it is unpublished. General Naravane himself has said that. I don't understand what is his stubbornness.
Okay.
And then because you have been exposed and people can figure out that you're a poor parliamentarian with little regard for the rule book, you try to make it worse, up the ante, and have a strategy. Use your women MPs as some kind of a,
Shield.
create
Okay.
some kind of a situation in the
quick,
parliament.
Quick one
where
line
where the office,
closing
where the
from
House,
Tushar. Yeah. Quickly.
Again, correct me if I'm wrong, Zaka, but it's not that Rahul Gandhi is not being allowed to speak. He's only being requested, and I used the word requested here, that he should just speak and also honor the rules of the parliament. He shouldn't be quoting from an unpublished book. If he's any other thoughts on the address of the president, he's free to express them. But it's not that he's not allowed to speak. That's where I feel the difference.
We'll leave it at that. Thank you very much, Tushar, Brijesh Kolappa, and also Shazia Elmi for joining us. Hopefully, we'll get some debate going in Parliament. We'll know tomorrow. There have been separate meetings between the Speaker and representatives of the government today, as well as representatives of the opposition.